one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Welcome back. Had to get my voice pumped up, you know what I'm saying? Welcome back to another fucking episode, yo. Kicking it with Saint. We rocking. Listen, I gotta address this before we get started because it is a good chance that I could get lost in the sauce and just absolutely forget about this topic. The NFL award shows happen tonight, or NFL honor shows, whatever the fuck it's called, where they giving out all the awards on the season. Why the fuck is this shit happening on a random Thursday on Super Bowl week? Like, did anybody know this shit was happening? The only reason I knew it was happening because it popped up across my phone. But to the winners, Aaron Rodgers, I think he won his 4th MVP, meaning he done won the second most MVPs all time, I think behind Peyton Manning, the Sheriff. You got Micah Parsons, who won Defensive Rookie of the Year. TJ Watt finally won Defensive Player of the Year. Now, what's weird is my phone popped up, Micah Parsons won. So, okay, I got to check this, bro, because I don't think it's 2 Defensive Player of the Years. I think it's a Defensive Rookie of the Year and a Defensive Player of the Year. Unless it's a division, unless it's somebody who from each conference win the award, which I don't think that happened. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think I am. I don't think that happens. I think it's only 1 Defensive Player of the Year, yo. Like, I don't think 2 dudes win that award. So, Micah Parsons won Defensive Rookie of the Year. TJ Watt won Defensive Player of the Year. Aaron Rodgers won his 4th MVP. People were saying that they really thought my man Jonathan Taylor was going to win that. No shot. They're not giving that to a running back not named AP. So, who else won some awards tonight? Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow. I believe that the Walter Payton Man of the Year went to Andrew Whitworth of the Rams. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to Jamar Chase. And I think that was all the awards. At least I saw the ones that I can think of. If it was another one, then I apologize because I got no clue. I have to check that after the thing. But what's up? How dope was y'all day? Yo, now check me out. Not really going to be a big basketball episode, but it's going to be kind of like the biggest basketball episode we done had up to this point because a big trade happened today. Now, you know the trade had to be big for me to be talking about this shit on Super Bowl week. Like, it had to be. Now, a lot of trades happened today. It was a trade deadline in the NBA. I'm not going over all those fucking trades right now. Like, it's not going to happen. I might fly over a couple of them, just quickly say something about them, but don't care about most of them. The one I'm going to be talking about is the big one. James Harden to the Sixers and Ben Simmons to the 76ers. Ben Simmons to the Nets. Wild trade. Wild trade. I knew the trade was going to, I kind of felt like it was going to happen just based off of a couple things. One, the Nets didn't feel like the Nets was going to be stupid enough to let James Harden walk at the end of the season and lose that motherfucker for nothing. That was the first thing. I just didn't see that coming. Like, I didn't see that happening, I should say. I didn't think the Nets was going to allow that to happen. 2, once James Harden basically quit again, once James Harden quit again, I was like, yeah, it's just no shot Durant finna deal with this shit. Like, he already got to deal with Kyrie, brother Kyrie, and I really don't want to call him this because you got motherfuckers in the media everywhere calling him this, but it is what it is. With Kyrie being a part-time player at the time because of that vaccination mandate, you don't want to have to deal with that and deal with James Harden, bro. So I kind of felt like the trade was going to happen. I was just curious to see who they traded with James Harden to the 76ers. And I knew the 76ers were going to have to move Ben Simmons. I said that early in the year, like, bro, the NBA is not going to let you sit a superstar for as long as they was sitting Ben Simmons. They wasn't finna let them motherfuckers keep doing that. And Del Morey tried to come out and be, all tough and was like, oh, we will let this run through the majority of his career and blah, blah, blah through his contract, and we willing to do this for multiple. Bro, that's that. I mean, it sound good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it sound good. When you can do the talking and Ben Simmons not going to do no talking. It sound good. It sound great. But I knew that shit wasn't going to happen. So you trade Ben Simmons to the Houston. Why the fuck am I? You trade Ben Simmons to the 70. What the fuck am I talking about? You trade Ben. Let's try this one more time. You trade Ben. I can't even get the man's name right now. You trade Mr. Simmons to the Brooklyn fucking Nets. There we go. And James Harden heads to the 76ers. Now, before I talk about like the who won the trade and all that shit, I just want to say this. I see a lot of 76er fans, and I understand 76er fans saying the reason they like the trade is because now you get a player that's actually going to play, that's going to be on the floor. And that's cool, I guess. But I don't understand you saying that, oh, we got a dude who won't quit on us, when the dude you got legitimately just quit on his last two teams. Like, James Harden just quit on his last two teams. Like, let's just keep it a buck. He came in out of shape on Houston and quit on Houston, basically. Then he just did it again. Just because he didn't like the way shit was going. And I want to break this down a little bit further because, I never understood him quitting on Houston. I never understood that. And for all the people who say, like, and James Harden made a big fuss out of winning MVP. Like, he made a big fuss when other dudes was winning that award over him. So to me, it had me thinking like he valued being a leader in Houston. Like he was going to try to win one in Houston. Like he valued being that guy. That's why he wanted the MVP, to validate that. That's what I thought. You give him Dwight Howard. Now, I don't care how you feel about Dwight Howard. Because there's certain players that when you talk about them, people don't keep it to sports. People talk about everything aside from the sport. When Dwight Howard was in Houston, Dwight Howard was still a great player. Go check his numbers. I know you're going to say they lost in the playoffs because of Dwight, but that's actually not the case. That game that they lost in Portland, it was Harden who struggled that series. Go check the tapes. He eventually blamed Dwight for all that stuff. And as much as, I might not like him blaming Dwight and whatnot and trying to get Dwight shipped out, when he does that, I understand Houston making the decision, okay, we picking Harden over Dwight. This is Harden's team. He wants somebody else. Let's find somebody else. Cool. Now, we're not even talking about all the many different pieces they put over there, like the others, like Eric Gordon, Robert Covington. Y'all remember all the what's my man? The center. I can't even think of my man's name, but you know who he is. He had the little patch in his head. I can't think of his name right now. I know it starts with a C, but it's like right there, but it won't come out. So it is what it is. But they had a lot of great role players over there for him. I think Amon was over there at one point in time. But eventually, you go out there and you get him Chris Paul. He don't like Chris Paul. He eventually, that relationship deteriorates. Not to mention, look at what Chris Paul has done since leaving Houston. Look at what Chris Paul has done since leaving Houston, and look at what's happened to James Harden since leaving Houston. But because that was his team, y'all believed him when he said, and y'all was such fans of James Harden, y'all believed him when he said, it was Chris Paul's fault. Like, we can't win. I can't reach my potential because of Chris Paul. So what they do, they said, cool. It's going to be hard to move Chris Paul with his contract, but you know what? We're going to figure it out. We're going to move Chris Paul because he the problem. All right. Bet. Houston picked James Harden side again. And once again, doing everything they possibly can to make sure James Harden is happy and has a chance to compete for a championship. Bet. They go out and they get Russell Westbrook. Now, they don't just get Russell Westbrook. They make sure James Harden sign off on it first, and they make sure that's who they want. That's who he wants. And he says, yep, that's who I want. So you go out and you get him Russell Westbrook. Well, somehow him and Russ don't work out. Okay. Now it's on Russ. So they trade away Russ. And now James feel like, you know what? After trading away all the different pieces on this team, after scavenging this team, now seeing that there's nothing left in the cupboard, I want to leave. Now y'all the problem. Now Houston the problem. They don't do enough. They don't want it bad as I want it. So you looking at an organization, I don't side with the organizations often. Remember, pro player show. It's very rare that I side with the organizations. Very rare. But Houston did every fucking thing possible to put great teams, great help, great support around James Harden. Not to mention, one could say a lot of the talent that Houston acquired to put around him was wasted for the simple reason James Harden's play style was dribble, shot clock going down, either shoot it or pass it to somebody else to launch up one. PJ Tucker was there in some of them years. Like, James Harden, no defense, didn't play much defense, wasn't really a team guy, came in out of shape. I don't really care about, well, I do, because to be a great leader, you can't be going late to practices, coming in out of shape and shit. When you're the leader of a franchise, I'm starting to see some of these young dudes think just because they the best scorer on their team, that makes them the leader of the team. And I'm starting to see when you have dudes on teams that are so ultra talented as far as scoring the ball, because that's usually what it is. It's very rare that you get a Giannis Antetokounmpo who play both sides of the ball, or a revolutionary player like a KD or a Steph Curry that's so unbelievably, like, where they, and not even KD, I didn't mean to say KD, I meant to say LeBron and Steph, where these two dudes just not revolutionize the game for LeBron, but they just changed the game, and like they just became iconic to the game. You know what I'm saying? So those three right there to me is just, I don't really, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to compare, because I understand it's tough comparing dudes to those three dudes specifically. Because I'm not going to lie, I hold Giannis in high regards, bro. I'm just being honest. I think Giannis the best player in the NBA right now. Just being honest with you. Everybody keep telling me all he do is dunk, and I keep saying, well, can't nobody stop the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if all he do is dunk, stop him. Stop him. Also, we got to talk about the All-Star game, because I saw that All-Star game. I watched that on YouTube, the All-Star game. Team picking, the captains picking a team tonight. Bron and KD. But back to Harden in Houston. After all that, though, in Houston, Harden finally say, like, I can't win here. Like, y'all didn't do enough. Y'all didn't want it as bad as I did, basically. I can't win here. I want to go. Trade me. He wanted to be traded to Brooklyn to play with KD and Kyrie. Now, when you want to be traded there, what that tells me is, now, obviously he wanted to stack the deck. He wanted to form a super team and win like that. Now, for one, when that was the location he wanted, and when he finally said he done in Houston, that told me he was done trying to be the man. He was done trying to, be a leader of a, because he had players there. Don't never say Harden had no help. Harden had help. But Harden was done trying to fulfill the responsibilities of being a Steph Curry or LeBron James. He didn't want to be those players or Giannis Antetokounmpo. He didn't want to have to be those dudes who have to take on special type of roles, have to do special type of shit throughout a season when you the best player on the team, when you the franchise player, when you the leader of a team. He didn't want to have to do that. So now he want to go to play for KD's team in Brooklyn. Cool. I ain't got no problem with that. I like super teams. I'm hoping it's going to work out like it did for KD and Golden State. Everybody's saying this is the greatest collection of talent ever assembled. Now, I didn't agree with that. I've never agreed with people saying that these three right here are the greatest three talented players ever put together. Not just because of what ended up happening. I didn't agree with that going in. For the simple reason, in my opinion, Steph Curry and KD with Clay and Dre was better than these three. Not even just off of what I've seen. I would want KD, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson over KD, Harden, and Kyrie. That's just my opinion. I would want the Miami Heat big three, the Heatles. I would want that big three over this big three in with the Nets. Now I know it's easy to say that off of what's happened, but I'm just telling you how I felt before that, because I'm just not that big on James Harden. And I really tried to give myself, like, before, see, James Harden got a lot of playoff woes, bro. He got a lot of playoff highlights where you could just see him folding in the playoffs, right? And I never really went too hard on him about that. Like, the playoffs is tough. Like, a lot of people do a lot of capping and say Steph Curry is bad in the playoffs or in the finals, which is just not true. The stats even say it, and people just still choose to ignore that and say, well, he don't play as great as his normal self. And they find ways to flip it up and rewrite the shit for people. It's wild. But James Harden has a proven history of coming up short in the playoffs, folding in the playoffs. Man lost to the fucking Spurs without Kawhi Leonard. Everybody thought they was winning that series. I can't forget about that shit. So you look at how James Harden struggled in the playoffs and all that type of shit. Where was I at? I was twiddling this fucking thing for a quick second and my mind just ran. It just ran like it got lost. But anyways, I know we was talking about Harden. Either way, I don't remember where I was at, but let me skip this. Harden knew what the fuck he was getting himself into when he chose to go to Brooklyn. You see, I know we was talking about his playoff woes and his losses in the playoffs and his coming up short in the playoffs and shit like that. But listen, Harden chose Brooklyn. When he said that's where he wanted to go, you already knew what came along with Kyrie. Now, you can't expect Kyrie in this pandemic shit. But the reason I won't say that you can't expect that Kyrie would sit out during this pandemic is because you couldn't expect that New York would enforce this type of thing. Like, all this shit happened on the fly. And I do understand people who say, well, if Kyrie is a team player, then he'll get that vaccination. And I am a team dude. I agree with shit like that. In most circumstances, I would agree. However, from the beginning of this all, I have been a strong believer in, if you want to get the vaccination, that is cool. I have absolutely no problem with that. I am not fighting the science. I am not fighting people's opinion. If you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. That is your body. But I'm not going to get mad at somebody for saying they don't want to get vaccinated either, because that's their body. This ain't something as simple as you can't wear this or you can't wear that or you can't say this or you can't say that. This is something that he got to put in his body. I am not the owner of Kyrie's body. I cannot control and tell Kyrie what he should and should not put in his body. No. We can tell him what he should and shouldn't put in his body. People can do that to him. But at the end of the day, you cannot force somebody to put something in their body if they don't want to. So in that aspect, I understand. Like I can't really blame Kyrie for that, because it don't matter how I feel about the pandemic, it don't matter how I feel about the vaccination or none of that. At the end of the day, that's Kyrie's body, and he did not expect for this mandate to happen, just like we didn't expect the pandemic to happen, and none of this. So it's hard for me to say like, yeah, this Kyrie's fault. He should be doing what's best for the team. Nah, that's ignorant. And I feel like in sports is the only time where we seem to lose our humanity and shit like that, and try to say, like, I see people saying that the weed thing was a stupid rule for Sha'Carri Richardson. But at the end of and I agree, but at the end of the day, that's the rule. Okay, so how do y'all not care that that's the rule at the end of the day for that, but for Kyrie y'all do? You see what I'm saying? You can't keep picking and choosing, bro, when you feel like you care about one thing and you don't for the other. I feel the same way on both issues. It's the rule. The rule is the rule for the Sha'Carri thing, but it's hard for me to get mad at it because I don't think that weed thing should be. I cannot tell Sha'Carri that, man, you shouldn't be smoking weed. Like, I know I can tell her that she shouldn't be smoking weed, but I can't force her not to smoke no weed. What? That's crazy. And it's probably the two analogies probably didn't make sense. And I could probably hear in my head, like the voice in my head is saying to me like, yo, Saint, those probably don't make sense, bro. Like, revisit them. But we not. We gonna keep scrolling. But at the end of the day, basically hopping back to Kyrie, I understand Kyrie's situation, basically, is what I'm saying. Like, on most cases, I would agree. Like, if you telling me like, man, all y'all motherfuckers have to wear like suits and shit like that, I agree. I hate wearing suits and shit. But if I have to wear suits, then I have to wear suits. No, that's what I was saying for Sha'Carri. I love smoking weed. But if the rules is I can't smoke weed, I can't smoke weed. You see what I'm saying? So I that's how I feel on most rules. Like, even if, as much as I love weed, and as much as I fuck with Sha'Carri, like, I think she a dope athlete, her whole image is dope. At the end of the day, no matter for what reason she was doing it, the rules is the rules. In her situation, though, she said she was smoking it because she lost a loved one. I think that's actually was the point that I was getting to, not because I stand by the rule. Because now that I'm thinking about it, she said she was smoking weed for because of her family issues. I kind of agree with that. Like, that's what I was trying to say. I kind of agree with that, like a lot of people did when they was like, bro, we can't tell people how they should be dealing with the loss of like losing a loved one. Like, that's a different type of issue. Like, I understand the rule is the rule. Like, I get that. I truly do. But that's not something that Sha'Carri could have just expected to happen. That probably came up out of nowhere. And even if you have a loved one that's sick, that's in the hospital or something like that, when they die, when they pass away, that's still a shock to you. So to tell somebody how they should deal with that, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Now, you don't want nobody going out there killing nobody and no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want no shit like that happening. Somebody lose a loved one and just snap like they doing some of these moves and go out there and start murking motherfuckers. You don't want that to happen. You also don't want people shooting up with like no hardcore drug or nothing like that. So, if you one of them people who gonna hit me with an example like that, then no. You got me. You shouldn't have nobody. That would just be absolutely insane to me, though, if that's what somebody chose to do. If they just lost like, that would be crazy to me. Because most heroin addicts I know are so estranged from their family that if a family member died for them, that would probably get them to stop doing heroin rather than getting them to go hit the heroin pipe like that. So that's just some extreme crazy examples that if somebody used those, then your mind is something else. But who am I? It's people who deal with death by going to drink, smoking a pack of cigarettes. Like, what the fuck? How I'm supposed to tell Sha'Carri, like, oh man, you can't smoke no blunt when you just lost? What? People drinking and shit like that when they losing loved ones and shit like that, but I can't smoke a blunt. And I understand the Olympic rules is the Olympic rules, but to me, this one should have been, and that's how I feel about that actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that Sha'Carri example, bro, had nothing to do with this example. I don't know why that is the example I use now that I'm thinking about it. But just understand that was a whole different situation. And seeing as how I took the time to break down how I felt on that situation, which like I said, I don't even know why I brought that situation up, but since I did, that I guess that's just a part of the show now. But I just talked about the Sha'Carri situation. I probably didn't talk about it at no point in time this year when that happened. I accidentally brought it up as one of my examples, probably trying to use a different example. Ended up getting to that one as an example, and I ended up breaking that down. So my thoughts on that Sha'Carri situation, I guess. Yeah, the rules is the rules, but come on, man, she just lost somebody, bro. How you gonna tell somebody how to grieve? Except, like I said, if you're somebody who want to go hit a crack pipe or something after you lose somebody, then Jesus Christ, bro, seek help. But when it comes to this one, finally getting back to this shit. When it come to Kyrie, that motherfucker couldn't see none of this shit coming. So, not to mention, the rules is the rules for the pandemic. I mean, for the state of New York or whatever, with the vaccination and shit. And Kyrie basically, like, he abiding by the rules. He was willing to play the home games. I mean, the games on the road. And that's not his fault that New York put that rule in place. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I get it. If you one of them people who like, man, he should. It's just so hard for me to tell somebody, man, you need to go get vaccinated. No, it's not hard for me to tell them that. It's hard for me to tell them that and get mad if they be like, nah, no, I shouldn't. Because I don't want nobody telling me what I should do with my body. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to like it if somebody trying to tell me what I should and shouldn't do or what I need to go do to my body. Like, nah, this my body. You know what I'm saying? And I already told you on a show ago, I hate authority. Like, I'm a big, like, I got a big problem with authority, yo. Like, not even in the sense that if somebody tell me something to go do, I'm going to get mad or something like that. No. It's just, man, I'll explain another day, bro. But I do have a problem with authority. Now, I don't know crazy shit like, oh, man, this dude gonna go crazy if somebody tell him. Nah, not on no crazy shit. Nothing like that. I just got a problem with people who be walking around feeling like they got the biggest dick in the room just because they your boss or something like that, man. You know what I'm saying? But back to James Harden fight, at least. So listen, after all that rambling that I just got done doing, James Harden, like I said, I don't understand how I take player side all the time, pro player show. I don't know what more Houston could have done for James. I really don't. Like, to me, if you are the player that you think you are, if you are supposedly a top 5 player and a leader and a dude that can lead a team to the championship, to a finals, I don't really understand him leaving Houston. Because multiple Curry fans were saying that they want him to leave Golden State and go to a team that's stacked so he don't end up losing on his last on the stretch end of his prime. Like, Golden State fans didn't want to see that man lose in Golden State. Now, obviously, Golden State got a far better team now. Curry stuck around. He was committed to staying. Because that just shows the type of player that Curry is. Harden wasn't interested in that. And listen, some people are like, oh, well, he didn't have a Klay Thompson and he didn't have a Draymond. Listen, when you got players, first off, them two dudes was drafted to Golden State. And Golden State keeps showing you that they willing to draft dudes and develop them rather than going out and signing a whole bunch of dudes and trading away all their draft picks and play young players for older guys. Listen, Curry got to have some saying that. Curry have to say some saying that. That's why he aging gracefully, really. Yeah, you get your moments where these young dudes can be a headache. But when you developing and when these young dudes is developing, becoming what they becoming, it make the game easier for Curry in the long run, honestly. And so, also, if they ever do want to just make a trade to bring over somebody great, You got all these great young talents right now. And so guys like Harden, I really don't want to put Harden in the same sentence as LeBron, but Harden to me is kind of sort of like LeBron in a sense. He want to, get guys to come over and play with him rather than developing young dudes and waiting around. Like every year is like could be the last year of my career type shit. And I respect that to an extent. What I don't respect is you quitting on Houston the way he did. Getting out of shape, showing up to practices late and shit like that. Like I'm a dude who like, if you want to leave, cool. I don't understand why you want to leave, but I get it. You want to be somewhere else now. The time for you in Houston has expired. I have no problem with that. My problem is coming in out of shape, being unprofessional. At no point in time, I don't care how unprofessional Houston might got, which Houston never got unprofessional with Harden. They never got disrespectful to him or nothing. Harden was doing all this. I don't understand that, treating Houston like that. And like I said, bro, I never take the team side. But how do you treat Houston like that after they just did all this shit they did for you over the last couple years? And did everything they possibly could have done to get you to the finals. All you had to do was uphold your part. Like, how do you take no accountability and none of that shit? I don't get that. But, you want to get to Brooklyn. So you quit on them until they get you to Brooklyn. Cool. You get to Brooklyn. You knew what Kyrie was. Kyrie done made it very known to people that basketball is not his only thing. Like, it's bigger things outside of basketball to him. That's your fault if you choose to hear something else or not believe what come out of Kyrie's mouth. And you know that KD is coming off of an injury, and sometimes he hurt. You know this. Like I said, you can't predict the Kyrie situation as far as the pandemic, but still, you chose this situation, bro. And of course, shit get tough, shit get rough, shit ain't going the way Harden wanted to go, and Harden quit on Brooklyn also. And it's definitely quitting. Because I promise you, when he get to Philly, he going to be magically healthy again. And so now he done quit on 2 teams in the last 2 years. Bro, for one, it's a way to go out. You don't have to quit. And people, I don't never want to hear people say LeBron this, bro. LeBron didn't quit on none of them teams. Now, I do kind of think he quit on Cleveland that first time around against the Celtics. Like, that definitely felt like he quit. But the motherfucker played out. He got them to the playoffs, but the motherfucker done played out all his contracts when he left a team. Like, he didn't just leave mid-season when shit was going south. Like, the motherfucker ain't never requested no trade mid-season. Man, always play his contracts out. And so, we done got to a situation where I'm starting to kind of understand fans and the owners who getting mad at NBA players who like, yo, these dudes just every time they get mad, they get up and force a trade. I'm starting to understand that now, because this Harden shit, you shouldn't be able to do what Harden done these last 2 years. Forced his way out of 2 good situations. Was disrespectful when the Rockets brought over DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall, and those guys talked real disrespectful while he was there. Like, this shit unacceptable from a dude who's supposed to be a leader, an MVP, and all this type of shit. And this is why a dude like Giannis is winning. This is why fans love dudes like Giannis. And you got the dickheads who gonna ride for Harden, bro. It's usually high schoolers and dudes less than that and lower grades than that, bro. Because it's just no way you look at Harden and what he done these last couple. And maybe he'll have success in Philly. Maybe he'll have success there. I doubt they'll win a championship though, because motherfuckers want to play for dudes like Giannis. Motherfuckers want to work hard for motherfuckers like Giannis, who they know gonna ride for him, not gonna quit on him when shit get rough. Giannis already proved that he was gonna ride with him when he signed his contract extension. Could have went anywhere, could have held out, could have went somewhere else like most of all these other stars do. Said, nah, I'm staying here in Milwaukee. We gonna build something special. And I get it. Every player ain't built like that. Every player can't be a special talent, a great. Because it's easy to keep saying, oh, these dudes Hall of Fame, oh, he Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's real nice. But Curry, LeBron, and KD and Giannis gonna be sitting somewhere real special when they retire. They ain't gonna just be greats. Now I know it'll get kind of controversial for KD there, because KD gonna have a lot of different narratives floating around him. But at the end of the day, KD is that guy. Like, I'm not finna do this challenge with KD. Harden will not be there. Harden will be remembered as a great scorer. But why am I supposed to believe it's gonna work for him in Philly? See, what was really pissing me off is, for some reason, Philly's anger and the media's anger and dislike for Ben Simmons, and they do this shit with a lot of different players in a lot of different sports. The media's disdain for Ben Simmons got them capping the y'all. And it's got Philly fans capping. Joel Embiid is a great player. Ben Simmons is also a great player. That moment in the playoffs by Ben Simmons is not going to define Ben Simmons' entire career. To y'all childish ass motherfuckers and motherfuckers who need to create stories and headlines, sure. That'll be his defining moment for y'all. But I said in the offseason when the man, for one, let's break down this Ben Simmons situation. No, we won't break down that yet. But all I will say is this. For the Philly fans who so happy to get rid of Ben Simmons and, oh, we got rid of a quitter. You just got a dude who quit on his last two teams in return. So, and how long will it be before he quit on y'all? Because like I said, the media and these, y'all fans been capping to yourselves. Y'all, if you letting y'all tell it, y'all would say act like Joel Embiid is the second coming of KD, LeBron, or something. Yeah, Joel Embiid a great scorer. Can block shots here and there, play great defense here and there when he active and not laboring around the floor. But this also the same dude that labors around the floor a lot late in games sometimes. It's a dude who done been out of shape multiple times. It's a dude who get belly aches in important games sometimes. It's a dude done been hurt a lot in his career. It's a dude who done came up short in the playoffs in his own right at times. But because Ben Simmons had that moment, y'all decided to act like none of that shit happened. Like, stop it. Like, and then at the same time, while y'all try to act like Joel is this angel, y'all done found a way to try to diminish Ben Simmons as if he's some scrub. Like, this man ain't one of the best defenders in the league. Like, this man ain't a perennial all-star. Like, what are we doing right now? And listen, like I said, if you're mad about Ben Simmons quitting, and I agree, Ben Simmons did quit on y'all. Now, just like I talked about the Kyrie thing, I'm going to address this Ben Simmons thing in a minute, because I'm kind of different. I don't like quitting. I don't agree with what Ben Simmons did as far as quitting on a team. Let me say that. I do not agree with how he handled the situation. I myself do not believe I would have handled the situation the way he handled it. I'm almost certain I would have played. Like, it's something. I don't like what Joel. Like, I'm gonna just get to that situation when I get to it. But just know, Ben Simmons quit, and you mad about that. James Harden just quit on his last two teams. But let's get to Ben Simmons. So Ben Simmons haven't been playing. And just like I said, James Harden gonna magically be healthy when he get to Philly. I'm almost certain Ben Simmons' mental issues will be under control when he get to Brooklyn and he'll be able to play. So, listen, I just told you that both dudes quit. One dude done it multiple times. Another dude just did it. We don't have to act like bozos and be like, oh, well, Ben Simmons gonna magically play. Oh, yeah, we get it. Both dudes quit on their teams, and now they're gonna be able to play. We get it, because they out of situations they didn't want to be in. Let's move on. But with Ben Simmons, obviously he wasn't mentally ready to play. And I saw, I had a conversation with my homie on Twitter, and he a Philly fan, and he hate Ben Simmons now. Which, mind you, he loved Ben Simmons before. And there was a time in which he would have never wanted his team to trade Ben Simmons for Harden. But, of course, him being a fan, he wanted them to get rid of him now. And I understand, like I said, I understand Philly fans saying, at least we got somebody who's willing to play for us now. But listen, the situation in Philadelphia should be a lesson. Joel Embiid, sure, that can be your franchise guy. I don't care. Joel Embiid's your franchise guy. You need to get Joel Embiid to grow the fuck up. You need to have, your leader cannot be childish. The best player on your team can be childish. Your leader can't be childish. The voice of your team can't be childish. And since Joel Embiid happened to be your best player and your leader, it's going to have to be some growing up in that situation. You can't have Joel Embiid call out the second best player on your team and your other leader on the team in the public like that. I don't give a fuck how bad the situation was. I don't care about Ben Simmons being scared to take a layup going to the free throw. I don't care about none of that. If you done played in a team sport long enough, you will have played with dudes who've made big mistakes. You have probably made big mistakes. We all done it. Ben Simmons just happened to have one of his worst moment in his career on a big stage in one of the biggest games of his life. Shit happens. Magic Johnson done come up short in big moments. LeBron, Curry, Kobe. Every single great done came up short in big moments except for Michael Jordan in the finals. Tom Brady done come up short in Super Bowls. Peyton Manning, not Aaron Rodgers. He 1 for 1, but he ain't never got back to him. What I'm saying is every single great athlete that you can name, aside from Jordan in the finals, has come up short in big moments. What you don't do, if you've played on a team and you know this, you don't shit on your own teammate. You don't throw your own teammate under the bus. You always have your teammates back in their lowest moments. You never leave a doubt in their mind that you had their back. Because you know, in the lowest moments, any doubt from your own teammate that you might not trust them no more, that you might doubt them now, that could kill your entire team's chemistry. And that can kill that entire player's confidence when his own teammates don't have his back, when they call him out in front of the media. And that's what Joel Embiid did. You want to know why? Because Joel Embiid is a bad teammate. Joel Embiid is a very talented player. I don't really find his antics funny, but I guess some people do. And I don't have a problem with his antics and whatnot. But from what I can see, Joel Embiid is very childish. I mean, he had to respond to the situation again today. Ben Simmons ain't thinking about Joel Embiid. He ain't came out and said nothing about Joel Embiid. But Joel Embiid got Ben Simmons living in his head rent-free, as people be saying. Like, the man couldn't have just let the man be traded and just had, be done with it. He had to have a parting shot because Joel Embiid is childish. And when your leader is this childish, well, how the fuck are you going to ever win? Like, this man do not see no drama that he don't have to inject himself into. You cannot win like that. You don't see Steph Curry injecting himself into every fucking piece of drama that come out about him. You don't see him going at his own teammates. You have seen LeBron do that, but for the most part, you don't see LeBron. And I don't like how LeBron did, how he looked at JR and the thing. I don't really have a problem with how he called out Kevin Love, because Kevin Love they did need to call out Kevin Love, because Kevin Love was trying to be different and was complaining and bitching too much. Like, bro, Kevin Love was in a situation where he didn't realize at the moment, like, bro, you are nowhere near as good as. I understand what you was in Minnesota. That's cool. But you ain't nowhere near as good as no Kyrie or LeBron James, bro. So you just going to have to get in where you fit in and play your role as best as possible. He didn't realize that yet. Once he learned that, they became a better team. Now, granted, Kevin Love folded in every single finals they ever appeared in. But, I kind of agree with LeBron calling him out. So I don't really count that. And trust me, I'm not no LeBron apologist. Like I said, I don't agree with how LeBron looked at JR, but I kind of do understand even in moments like that. This is the biggest game. We in the finals, bro. You just made that bone. But see, my thing is, I'm not mad at JR. I'm mad at the motherfucker who missed the fucking free throw. Who was the dude who missed the free throw? George Hill missing the fucking free throw. If he hit both free throws, they win the game. But we mad at JR. Yeah, I understand JR should have went right back up with the ball. But if he hit both free throws, we ain't even no rebound to be had. We ain't even discussing none of this other shit. Hit the free throws, bro. But I don't agree with how he looked at JR, but I kind of do agree with him calling out Kevin Love. But what I'm saying is, you don't see these other leaders on their teams calling out, going at their players and shit like that. Like Joel Embiid done handled this situation with Ben Simmons. Like, this is ridiculous, bro. Even when he tried to be fake professional, he can't do it. Like I said, the man's talented, but we not finna sit around and act like this motherfucker don't be hurt all the time, too. Like, he don't go through belly aches and shit like that, too. Like, he don't miss. Like, come on, man. Everybody got their flaws. It was no reason for these dudes to call out Ben Simmons. It was no reason for Doc to handle the situation and say what he said. I don't care. People will say, well, man, you in the situation in the moment. That's just how they felt. I don't give a fuck how you felt in that moment. We done all felt crazy ways in certain moments, but you can't say that about your own teammates. And they know that. Doc know that. He been doing this way too fucking long. And I don't want to hear people say, well, he was just giving some constructive criticism. You can give him constructive criticism in the dark when no cameras is on. And don't take it that no type of way, bro. You can do that without doing that in front of the media. You don't have to do that publicly to the media. You could have done that behind closed doors in your office somewhere. Like, you didn't have to do that. Come on, miss me with that shit. And Joel Embiid keep getting away with being a child. Like, I swear, bro, I'm a pro athlete dude. I told you, pro athlete show, pro athlete channel. The growth of this channel, we will always be pro athlete. But I cannot stand childish ass athletes. And for some athletes, I always say to myself, I get it. Because some of these dudes 18, 19, 20. But Joel Embiid done been in the league for a long time to still be this fucking childish. Like, bro, if you... like, Joel Embiid to me is just childish, bro. And he's just a terrible leader. He's a terrible leader. And this is exactly why I don't think Philly's going to win anything, bro. Like, him and James Harden going to scare somebody in the playoffs. But when they go up against either Milwaukee or the fucking Nets, I think they're going to be. Especially, they better pray that New York don't lift that fucking mandate. They better pray that don't happen. Because Joel Embiid, man, why am I to believe he'll be 100% in the playoffs? He ain't never 100% in the playoffs. Why do I think Harden won't fold in the playoffs like he always do? Like, I'm looking at a dude who, before this season, and just not even just before the season, it just ain't happened yet this season. Motherfuckers was always talking about how the motherfucker ain't never in shape. Now he playing with a dude who done quit on 2 teams. Like, what? Hey. And I hear people saying, oh, well, they didn't have to give up Matisse Thybulle and, what's my other dude's name? The dude that they was trying to trade but couldn't find nobody to pick up the contract, Tobias Harris, who, like I said this a while ago, not on the shows, but I done said this before. This dude got to be one of the smoothest motherfuckers. Like, he not on the level of a Chandler Parsons. Like, he has earned, for the most part, he done earned, I don't want to say he done earned the contract. You deserve whatever somebody pay you. Now, the earned off of your pay, it's hard for me to say he done earned either of them last couple contracts he done got, but he ain't been completely worthless to these contracts he done signed like Chandler Parsons. Like, Chandler Parsons was robbing motherfuckers. Like, he signed a contract and wouldn't even play none of the contract out, or it'd just be hurt the entirety of the contract. So he ain't on that level where he just straight up robbing a franchise of their money somehow and they keep signing this motherfucker. Like, he ain't Chandler Parsons, but anyways, back to fucking the the Ben Simmons and Harden trade. So the other thing when it comes to the James Harden thing that I'm not really rocking with too much is, like I said before, if when things go south, because I just told you I don't care about the Matthias Thybulle and keeping all them dudes. Them dudes wasn't doing shit in the playoffs last year. So what? I think the problem is losing Seth. Why would you give up Seth? If they gave up Matthias Thybulle, to me that would have been a smarter giveaway than giving up Seth. You could tell me, oh, Seth a liability on defense. Seth a liability. If your team is relying on Seth Curry to be a defensive stopper, then that says more about your team than it does about Seth Curry. Like, stop it. Seth, one of the top shooters in the league the last couple years. You get Seth Curry for his scoring. Mind you, Seth was one of the best players on that team last year in the playoffs, so stop it. Like, y'all not finna disrespect Seth Curry. Like, that motherfucker done worked his way into being one of the best shooters in this league. So, I don't understand trading him away, but I guess because they feel like James Harden is the better player in this deal. Ben Simmons is in his 20s. The fucking Sixers, I imagine, is going to give James Harden this long-term contract that's going to take him into his 30-somethings, till he 37, because I think he's like 32 right now, or 31. Like, I don't know about this contract, because James game kind of, I don't know, man. I don't know. But you really don't have no choice. You really don't have no choice after trading for him. You got to give him an extension now. So I'm interested to see. The pick and roll would be nice when Embiid healthy and want to run it. And when I could just see Embiid right now getting irritated with James Harden and dribbling too much. If they go on a losing streak, he'll get irritated saying, oh, James need to pass the ball more, or he'll complain about something on deep. I just know how these motherfuckers go, man. I just know how these type of dudes is, man. And all y'all eat it up. Y'all love these dudes so much. And, whatever. Whatever. Either way, I think it was listen, both teams will be better for it. I think the Nets specifically are going to be a better team, because the way I'm looking at this is these motherfuckers just got Ben Simmons, who can run the point guard position for him now, is a far better defender than James Harden. Like, it's not even close. You just legit got a premier perimeter defender. Dude can post up down low if you put smaller dudes on him. He can finish in transition. You got Kyrie. We know what Kyrie is, and we know what KD is. Not to mention, you got Andre Drummond, who can be your big dude down low, just in case, you could throw that in there now to mix up with some different size options and whatnot. And you got Seth Curry, who's going to be a scorer. He's going to be open on the wing and shit a lot. I don't know, man. Matthias Thybulle ain't no scorer. Danny Green too wishy-washy. I love Danny Green. I do. UNC champion, but he's wishy-washy. Nah. Right now, to me, I think the 76ers lost this trade. I think the Nets won this trade. They legitimately got better. They got almost everything they needed out of this fucking trade. And, I saw Pat Bev's tweet where he was moving on from that trade. I done said all I wanted to say about that trade, bro, because I don't really, all I had to say about that trade real fast in the quick little seconds about the trade was that most of the shit was dressing James Harden, bro, because, listen, like I said, I don't agree with what Ben Simmons quitting on the team. I don't agree with him quitting on the team. He should have just played and still asked him. The problem is, if he play, they probably don't trade the man. Now, he could have kept pressing the issue and whatnot, and maybe they would have eventually traded him. But I just think the whole situation was just handled so poorly, bro. I just thought it had got to a point where I understood that there was no shot that this man was ever playing another. So to me, it was a unique situation. Harden situations weren't unique. Harden just quit on the team because he couldn't fulfill his obligations and his roles on the team. And in Brooklyn, his shit just didn't go the way he wanted it to go, and so he quit. He said, "Get me out of here." And so, like I said, I understand if GMs and whatnot starting to get pissed off with that shit, and owners and fans and shit. because I would be too. But Kristaps Porzingis got traded to the Wizards. I know Luka Doncic finally happy to finally get his big ass off the team finally. He gonna get Spencer Dinwiddie, a far more productive player. So I'm thankful that Luka gonna get some help now. Cause at one point I saw Leg say that Kristaps Porzingis ain't just the unicorn because you never seen a unicorn on the court or how special they is. He said he also a unicorn because you just never see Kristaps on the court, and that's a fact. And I just know Luka happy to finally get his big complaining ass off the team. Send his ass to Washington. What Dallas should have did, they should have tried to scoop Kuzma up off of that deal too. They should have tried to get another shooter over there with Luka. Harrell ended. Bradley Beal done for the season. He getting surgery. Montrezl Harrell got traded to Charlotte. I love that trade because that's Charlotte, a young team, young, energetic team. Montrezl Harrell, an energy guy. He'll fit in perfect in Charlotte. Fit in perfect. I like that move. What other moves we have go down at the NBA trade deadline? This whole show gonna be trade deadline show, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I just came up with that. We've been talking about the trade deadline so long. This entire show gonna be trade deadline show. What other? So yeah, we'll just go ahead and fuck it. We'll just end up talking about multiple trades that happened today then. The biggest one, like I said, was the Harden and the Ben Simmons one. I'm happy Luka finally got some legitimate help over there for him. I love the Montrezl Harrell trade. I actually really love the Montrezl Harrell trade because if Montrez still got, and I don't think Montrez ain't got nothing left in the tank. I just think Montrez done been in some shit situations the last couple years. This situation gonna be good for him. Playing with these young, and he gonna be catching lobs and shit. Yeah, this gonna be filthy. But yo, we gotta talk about the NBA All-Star captain selecting a team. So I don't understand what's going on with Steph Curry and KD. KD dead ass got me thinking that he don't fuck with Curry. Cause this 2 years now where he just chose not to draft Curry, and that's weird to me. So LeBron got himself, Curry, and Giannis once again in his starting lineup. Mind you, KD not even playing in the All-Star game. Tatum took his spot. Tatum also gonna be on Team KD, so he took his spot on the thing and in the game. So, but Team Bron's team's gonna win. The thing that came from this game though, cause whose team win, we'll talk about that when we get here, cause we're gonna have NBA All-Star videos up too. You best believe that. My favorite weekend in sports. You damn right. Well, not my favorite weekend in sports. My favorite All-Star weekend in any sport. But they was drafting their All-Star lineups, right? And they got to the reserves. And at one point in time, as they picking, and it's so crazy because I didn't even pay this shit no attention at first. At one point in time, KD was just like, and people started talking. I heard Chuck and them talking in the back and laugh. And it was like, Chuck, why you laughing? And I was thinking the same thing, like, what he laughing for? And I'm looking at this board and I see it. I'm like, oh shit, James Harden's still on this board. And they done already ran through a couple picks in the reserves. So then, Chuck like, man, I can't say why I'm laughing. And you gotta see the clip. And Kenny basically started addressing the fact that like Harden left. Because Harden just had got traded earlier that day. And KD making the picks for his team later this afternoon or tonight. And so then they start getting down further into the draft. And they get down to Rudy Gobert and James Harden. And KD took KD took Rudy Gobert over James Harden. That shit was, I can talk about it, but I couldn't do the shit no justice. Like, you have to go watch the video. You have to go hear all the jokes that Chuck crack and that Kenny crack, and how Kenny basically walked KD through picking how he justified KD picking Rudy Gobert over him. But the shit is hilarious. You gotta hear all the different type of jokes that they crack. I don't know why LeBron had the little board, cause I mean, bro, we know you laughing and we see you laughing. Like, you laughing before you even put the board in front of your face. Like, you wasn't even doing that shit you wasn't even doing that shit strategically, my boy. Like, what the fuck? Like, that shit didn't even make no sense. And then they was telling KD was trying to keep a straight face like a motherfucker through some of these jokes, bro. But they was it was no way. His poker face was pretty mean in the beginning, but when LeBron asked was Harden even gonna be able to play, cause like, is he healthy? That motherfucker Chuck was like, oh, he done got traded. He gonna play now. He just got traded. He gonna play now. KD couldn't even hold it in no more. I'm like, yo, this dude Chuck is wild, bro. When this motherfucker enter I don't give a fuck mode, that shit is like no other I don't give a fuck mode I've ever seen, yo. Like, this dude Chuck is legitimately on another fucking level when it comes to not giving a fuck. Like, that shit is crazy. Like, this shit is hilarious. Like I said, you gotta go check out the video, cause I can't do this shit any type of justice compared to, like, if you just go watch the shit. NBA on TNT, the NBA All-Star draft. You gotta go see it. But with that was the trade deadline. I'm pretty sure some other trades happened that I ain't talking about, and you know, it is. Oh, the Bucks ended up getting Serge Ibaka. Dennis Schroeder just got traded. I can't remember what team he got traded to, but the Celtics just made 2 trades. They traded away Dennis Schroeder, and then they traded over, I think they got somebody. The Bucks traded away DiVincenzo. A bunch of trades happened, bro. You gotta go check out them other ones on your own. But I appreciate you for joining me. I appreciate you for kicking it with me. We was kicking this shit. We was kicking it. And I got another show that I'm gonna have to do too, because this show originally was gonna have a lot of different shit talked about, like NFL shit. But then I looked and I realized, like, talking about this Harden trade and this Simmons trade could take a minute, you know? They threw Paul Millsap in the trade. I didn't even know Paul Millsap was on the Nets, but I appreciate y'all for kicking it with me, man. Go tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Hey, Saint out.
Hey, right out. Got my niggas in the bag blowing white out. We gon' pump this shit real deep into the night out. Keep it 199, just ain't my style. Sing the time, staring out the window of the night route. They never ever understood for the most part. Hey, wonder how them niggas treated Mozart. Hey, did they try to put him on the Zoloft? Oh nah, I was penalized for being too alive. 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 I was